Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello, we are from Group 1, member of Acep Mumuh Fauzi, Admiral, Syaikhul Purnomo, and myself as Adinda Novalina will present an article entitled First Spread Start to Hit Indonesian Tourism as Foreign Arrival School by Jakarta Post. And this for the details in the article. Alright, I'll start the article. The novel coronavirus spread, first reported in China, has started to hit Indonesia's tourism sector as the country has recorded slower growth in tourist arrivals following bans applied to visitors from China. Okay, I like the green color of the writer's position, or it can say the author is discussing what in the article. Well, in the sentence, the novel coronavirus spread that from China has started to hit Indonesian tourism sector. This is the topic sentence of our article. And then, the sentence after that explains the country has recorded slower growth in tourist arrivals following bans applied to visitors from China. The sentence is a preview highlighting the yellow color or the explanatory sentence from previous sentence. The coronavirus is the cause of it. Okay, let's start with the first argument. Statistic Indonesia or BPS revealed on Monday that tourist arrivals amounted to 1.27 million in January, around 5.85% higher than the 1.20 million recorded in the same month in 2019. However, the growth is much lower than the around 9.5% increase in arrivals during January 2019 compared with the same period in 2018. The coronavirus impact can only be significantly seen in the last week of January. Some countries saw a decline in tourist arrival like China, Malaysia, and Singapore, but in total they still recorded an increase, said BPS Deputy for Statistic Distribution and Service Unita Rusanti in Jakarta. Why is it increasing? Because there was the Chinese New Year holiday and tourist arrival usually increase during this period, she added. Well, it can be concluded in argument 1, the pink one, that in January, arrivals are 1.27 million higher than in the previous year, 2019, at 1.29 million. However, tourist growth is lower than the previous year, 2018 and 2019, around 9.5%. BPS representative for Statistic and Service Distribution Unita Rusanti in Jakarta said that this last week experienced significant decrease coming from China, Malaysia, and Singapore, but when viewed in the total there was an increase due to the Chinese New Year and tourist holiday. Next, the second argument. The statistic agency data showed that the number of Malaysian tourists fell 10.6% year-on-year or YOY to 2,532 arrivals in January, around 16% of the total visits, the highest among other countries of origin. Chinese tourists trailed behind Malaysians at 281 arrivals, a slight rise of 1.46% YOY, a far cry compared with the 73% annual growth recorded in January 2019. Indonesia has closed its borders for those traveling to and from China in a bid to contain the spread of the pneumonia illness. Okay, statistic agency data show that the number of Malaysian tourists dropped by around 10.6% year-on-year to 2,532 arrivals in January. This figure is still still high from several other countries, followed by Chinese tourists, edged up 1.46% year-on-year, recorded in January 2019. Because this year in the Indonesian, current affairs does its borders to those who travel to and from China in an effort to prevent the spread of disease, not only pneumonia, but all disease, so that early prevention efforts are made.
President Joko Widodo announced on Monday morning the first COVID-19 positive cases on Indonesia's soil after a Japanese tourist allegedly spread the virus during a visit to Jakarta. COVID-19 has infected more than 88,000 people in some 60 countries and killed around 3,000 people. Indonesia has set a target of welcoming 17 million tourists this year. Last year, a total of 60.1 million tourists visited this country, a far cry from the 2019 target of 18 million.
Passenger on international flight increased by 12.13% in January to 1.68 million, higher than the 11.27% annual growth recorded in the first month of 2019. Meanwhile, the occupancy rate of star-rated hotels stood at 49.17% in January, a decline of 2.3 percentage points compared with the occupancy rate in the same month last year of 51.47%. The average length of stay at star-rated hotel was 1.88 days in January, 0.17 days shorter compared with the same month in 2019. Foreign tourist arrival based on national in January 2020 in percentage, Malaysia, China, Singapore, Australia, Timor-Leste, and others.
The government has announced a stimulus package worth 10.3 trillion rupiah to support the country's economic growth. The package will include aid for staple goods programs and housing loans and payment subsidies for the bottom 30% of people in the income bracket to maintain consumer spending. Consumer spending contributes more than a half of Indonesia's gross domestic product or GDP. The government will also grant 3.3 trillion rupiah to 33 regional authorities to compensate for tax revenue losses from the tax exemption given to the hotels and restaurants for the next 6 months. Give 298.5 billion in incentives to airlines and travel agents to attract foreign tourists to Indonesia and another 443.39 billion in discounts for domestic tourists visiting 10 tourist destinations.
Indonesia Tourism Intellectual Association (CPI) Chairman Azni Azhari cast double on the fiscal incentive, adding that would much rather see the government use their fund to improve the current weaknesses in the tourism sector, to prepare for 2021's arrival and promote quality rather than quantity tourism. Indonesia still ranks 8 for security and safety, 98 for tourism sector infrastructure, 102 in health and hygiene, and 135 for environmental sustainable ranking. Malaysia would in the competitiveness index and the 4 sub-indexes in the 2019 travel and tourism. Under such a condition, no matter what the government does to promote tourism through low price when the public say no, it's still a number, Admiral said. He also argued the government to remain transparent on the COVID-19 outbreak development, citing Saudi Arabia's decision to include Indonesia among 23 countries in temporary ban on all Umrah pilgrims as example of how foreign countries are increasingly wary of the virus spread in Indonesia.
Alright, from some of the arguments above, we can conclude that because of the coronavirus originating from China, affected the Indonesian tourism sector this year, even to the point of causing various arguments of prevention efforts, including closing Indonesian flights to and from China, the existence of subsidies assistance from the government to the tourism sector and economic sector in Indonesia, and increasing the current weakness in the tourism sector to prepare for the arrival to 2021 and promote quality rather than quantity in the tourism. So that's all from our group. Please forgive us if there is a mistake. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.